On Saturday, March 27th, Mitchell Robinson injured his fifth metatarsal against the Milwaukee Bucks, defending a pass to Brook Lopez. Although he did have successful surgery, he'll be out for the next 6 to 8 weeks with what's most likely a Jones fracture injury. Now, some people might think that his career might be done given his athletic ability and his freakish attributes, but I'm here to tell you that history is actually on his side, and this might be the greatest period of development in his career. Let's get to it. Now, as already stated, Mitchell Robinson, who just came back from a right hand fracture injury that kept him out for 15 games, just injured his fifth metatarsal, which is most likely a Jones fracture injury, which is the most serious of the 4 fracture injuries that one could get on the foot. He'll be out for the next 6 to 8 weeks. He's had some successful surgery, I believe 2 of them. He's most likely going to get a rod put into that area of his foot. But again, this is a major blow, not just for Mitchell Robinson, but for a team that's fighting for a playoff spot and that definitely dependent on his production, especially on the offensive end. Just look at his production on the offensive rebounding end and the impact he had in regards to putback plays and points for the team. And look how far they've fallen once he was out for the 15 games. Although the Knicks were still solid regarding their defense, given the play of Taj Gibson and those who filled in admirably, the Knicks still miss Mitchell Robinson's presence in the paint, especially on the weak side defense. Now, regarding the actual fifth metatarsal injury, aka in this case, the Jones fracture injury, most people believe it's a career ender, given where exactly the injury takes place and the difficulty. Now, the injury to the fifth metatarsal has 4 phases. Now, the 3 lesser fractures are the head and neck fracture, the dancer's fracture, and the avulsion fracture, which I actually have. That occurs near the rarest part of the bone. That occurs when you have so many ankle injuries. I've had about 5 of these ankle injuries throughout my life. The worst injury, and the one most people fear Mitchell Robinson has, is a Jones fracture injury. As a Jones fracture is a fracture that's in the fifth metatarsal. It's a long bone that's outside the middle part of the foot and occurs right near the base of the bone in an area that doesn't have the best blood supply, and therefore it takes the longest time to heal. Now, the most recent prominent player to actually suffer from this injury was Kevin Durant back in 2014. He was averaging 32 points a game, 50% from the field, and 39% from 3. Now, Kevin Durant went on to have a pretty prolific career after that. And people might say, well, that's Kevin Durant. What about Mitchell Robinson? But I'm here to actually give you some historical context to tell you why Mitchell Robinson might be fine in the future. According to a review done by orthopedic surgeon and sports medicine specialist David Gear on data of 26 NBA players who suffered Jones fracture injuries from 1994 to 1995, in 2012 to 2013, a return to previous levels of competition were achieved by 85% of those athletes. There's no change in PER, which stands for player efficiency rating, when the pre- and post-injury performances were compared. 4 of the 26 players, or 15% of them, did not return to play in subsequent NBA games after the season in which the fracture was sustained. 24 of the 26, or 92% of those athletes, were treated with operations, and only 3 of them underwent secondary operations. Recurrence of the injury was experienced by 5 or 19% of those players. So there definitely is a chance for Mitchell Robinson to return back to a sense of normalcy. But when you look at Mitchell Robinson's injury history, there is some hesitancy to think that Mitchell Robinson will actually ever be the same. I mean, look at this list. Now, here's the silver lining of this. Obviously not his actual injury, but this injury actually affords him the time to work on the thing that everybody's been screaming about. And not what we saw in the summer when he was trying to act like Mitch Richmond and God Shamgar put into one against his buddies in the gym. And that's his overall shooting, his touch, hook shots, the finesse game. And there's history to support the fact that he can actually do it and do it on a respectable level. Some of these examples include Nene Hilario, who tore his ACL in 2005 and was only a 23.8% mid-range shooter that season. Went on to go and hit 41% of his mid-range shots the next season and actually became a respectable shooter as a big man in the league. Jason Smith, who tore his ACL in 2008 as a member of the 76ers, shot a below average 36% from mid-range. When he returned with the Pelicans, he went on to shoot around 50.3% from the mid-range that season. Sean Livingston, who tore his ACL, PCL, and sprained his MCL with the Clippers, became a deadly mid-range shooter and post-up maestro for the Brooklyn Nets and then the championship Warriors. Even Blake Griffin, who in 2012 and 2013 injured his knee with the Clippers, went on to become a decent three-point shooter. You can argue the more injuries he accumulated, the better shooter and actual facilitator he became. Although Mitchell Robinson did not share the same injuries as all those other guys, one point remains the same. They all improved their finesse shooting. Mitchell Robinson can do the same exact thing now. No one's asking him to go out there and jump and actually re-injure it. But even in the boot, you can go out and play hours of course you throw up. Thousands of shots each and every day. Get the muscle memory up. Get your positioning up. Find your spots on the floor. And although Mitchell Robinson is only 22 years old, the NBA waits for no man. Is literally next man up each and every night. He's gonna have to find a way to conserve what he has left on the physical end and develop his mental abilities on the other end. Marry the two and become a better player overall. And regarding Mitchell Robinson's contract, the Knicks signed him to a 4-year deal with a team option at $1.8 million, which is dirt cheap. Even for a guy like Mitchell Robinson, which I know a lot of people have their qualms about his overall game, but he's still a solid rim protector, shot blocker, a guy who can provide you. He's one of the best in the league regarding offensive rebounding. So there's still a lot of value for a second rounder who's still only 22 years old. And the Knicks can keep him or try to keep him by not exercising the option and making him become a restricted free agent. But then they could come back to the board and match any offer another team tries to sign him to. However, if the Knicks pick up the team option, he becomes a free agent, unrestricted, in 2022. Now, the question is for Mitchell Robinson, is he a $15 million player? And according to some, such as Bobby Marks, former Nets capologist and current ESPN cap guru, say they not paying Mitchell Robinson more than $10 million a year. He said he's paying him $30 million for 3 years, which again, is great money for me. But again, everybody thought Mitchell Robinson was going to get that $15 to $17 million a year contract. Mitchell Robinson, you come back and you're an actual competent shooter, you space the floor, is a lot smarter. Even at 23 years old, you're still relatively young for a player. Maybe you get that market value up. So it's all up to Mitchell Robinson to find a way to change his game. And this is not the time for you, Mitchell Robinson, to be on IG and sulk and complain about the things that have been going on and give these cryptic messages. This is truly time for you to find some shooting coaches, some experts, some specialists to truly develop that part of your game. Go out and seek shooting coaches like Chris Matthews, who worked with AD, Bob Thate, who worked with Jason Kidd and got his shot going, Holger Gershwinder, who worked with Dirk Nowitzki and actually helped develop that one-leg fadeaway. Go ahead and politic with my guy, Drew Hanlon, who developed my son, RJ Barrett's shot. Shoot, pull a Bill Belichick and go down to New Orleans and watch some practices with Fred Vincent and the Pelicans. But seriously, this is up to Mitchell Robinson to use this time to take his game to the next level. To not be a victim to his circumstances, but be a victor to what's been given to him. That was mad corny. That was deep though. I like that. I ain't gonna lie. That was tough. It was corny. It was tough. But if you like this video, you like my breakdowns, you want to see more of them, you like my watch-alongs, you like my channel in general, please hit the like, subscribe to the channel, hit the dark notification bell so you know every time I go live or provide a new video out for the community. But guys, until next time, peace, salute, and God bless. We out.